Trigonometry Lesson number 7, more problem solving using trigonometric ratios. This is starting on page 249. Question 1. In the diagram that we have drawn here, QS equals 32 millimeters, angle PQS equals 50 degrees, and angle RPS equals 61 degrees. Use this information to determine the length of QR to the nearest millimeter. So we're looking for QR. We have QS, so we have part of it already. We really need to find RS. So I'm going to label that one X, and we're going to focus on this triangle, which is also 90 degrees. We're going to label it, so 61 degrees. That's the angle we're interested in. So across that is our opposite. Beside that is adjacent. And we have our hypotenuse. We don't know any of the sides, so we can't really use our trig functions yet. Let's take a look at our small triangle, the dark blue triangle. So for our dark blue triangle, we have an angle of 30 degrees. We have a side, so we could find the adjacent. So for this dark blue triangle, I'm going to redraw it here. This is 32 millimeters. The angle is 50 degrees. Call that y. If we figure out what y is the same side of the part of the blue triangle that we want. So this is a two-step question. Okay, so for our small green triangle, which is the same thing here, we have adjacent, we want opposite, that is tangent. So tan 50 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. We will solve it for y. So y is 38 millimeters. Let's go back to our light blue triangle. We know this is 38 millimeters here now. We want our opposite. It's going to be a tangent again. It's a different triangle, so we're going to have a different angle. So tan of 61 degrees is opposite over adjacent. Solve that for x, and we get 68.6, so that would be 69. So that means this side here is 69. To get the whole side, R to Q, we're going to have to go 69 plus 32, which is 101 millimeters. Please do question 2. Page 250, class example 3. In January 2003, the tallest building in Rockyville was the Metro building. Recently, a developer was commissioned by the Gamma Pro Oil Company to build a taller building next to the Metro building. From the top of the Metro building, the angle of elevation of the top of the Gamma Pro building is 24 degrees, and the angle of depression to the foot of the Gamma Pro building is 56 degrees. If the buildings are 45 meters apart, determine the height of each building to the nearest meter. That's a lot of words. The first two sentences there aren't going to help us with this question. From the top of the Metro building, so here's the top of the Metro building, the angle of elevation of the top of the Gamma Pro building is 24 degrees. Remember, angle of elevation is when you lift your arm up. So the angle of elevation would be right here. This is 24 degrees. The angle of depression, that's when you push something down, is 56. If the buildings are 45 meters apart, so this distance here, that's 45 meters, which is also the length of that part of the triangle. Determine the height of each building. We're going to have to assume that these are 90 degrees. The height of the Metro building I'm going to call M. That's the same as this part here. The height of the Gamma Pro building I'm going to call G, which is this here. And if you look at the Gamma Pro building, part of it is going to be the Metro building and a little bit more. So the little bit more I'm just going to call X. Now you need to decide which triangles to start with. I'm going to start with the Metro building. I'm going to be focusing on the bottom triangle to begin with. Okay, I'm looking for M. M is my opposite, 45 is my adjacent, so I can use tangents. So tan of 56 is my opposite over my adjacent. I solved that for M. Answer needs to be in the nearest meters, so this is 66.7, so I'm going to round it to 68 meters. Now I'm going to focus on the top triangle for my Gamma Pro top of the building. I have 24 degrees, my adjacent, and my opposite, so I can use tangent. So tan of 24 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. And I get 20. So my G, the actual height of my Gamma Pro building, is going to be 20 plus 68, which gives me 88. So the height of the Metro building is 68 meters, and the height of the Gamma Pro building is 88 meters.